Today's lesson is chapter 3, lesson 8, interpreting the quotient. So the last couple of days we spent talking about dividing decimals. First we were dividing decimals by a whole number, then we were dividing whole numbers by decimals, dividing decimals by decimals, and now you have all the skills that you need, and really this lesson today is just about using that information and transferring it into the real world, because in the real world you do come across these situations, and you need to be able to tell what your division problem, what the answer really means. So I'm going to give you a couple different situations, and we'll learn how to figure out what our answer really means. So the first one, let's say you're going to have a pizza party, which is something that a lot of people do. You are going to invite over about 23 of your closest friends. That's a big party, yes. You're going to bring over 23 people. And each of these pizzas has 8 slices. The question is, if you want everyone to have one slice of pizza, then how many pizzas are you going to need to buy? So the math is, there are 23 people, and you want to split it into groups. See how many pizzas you need when each pizza has 8 slices. So we're going to do 23 divided by 8. So first we see how many times does 8 go into 2? It doesn't. How many times does 8 go into 23? It goes twice, which is 16, which leaves us with 7 left over. Drop a 0, and here's our decimal. This is what we've been working on. And 8 goes into 70 7 times. I'm sorry, brain fart. 8 times, which is 64, which leaves you then with an 8. I'm sorry. Geez, I'm all over the place today. Which leaves you with a 6 here. Drop a 0. 8 goes into 60 7 times, which is 56. And we're left with 4 here. 8 goes into 45 times. So our answer is 2.875. So if I wanted to be exact, I need 2.875 pizzas, right? Well, is there any pizza shop where you can go and say, excuse me, I'm going to need 2.875 pizzas, or 2 and 875,000 pizzas? Is there anywhere that's going to have that? No. So you need to interpret, and interpret means really figure out what it means. Interpret that answer. 2.875 pizzas. Well, you can't get 2.875 pizzas. So you're either going to need to get 2 pizzas or 3. If you get 2 pizzas, is everyone going to have enough pieces? Well, 2 times 8 is 16 pieces. Not everyone's going to get a piece. There's going to be 7 people without one. If you get 3 pizzas, then you're going to have 24 pieces. Because 24 times 3, or I'm sorry, 8 times 3 is 24. And so you'll have enough pizza. In fact, you'll have 1 extra pizza. So in this case, we're going to actually round our answer up. And the reason we're going to round our answer up is so that we have enough pizza for everyone. Let's go to a second problem that has even more decimals like we did yesterday, and we're going to interpret and figure out what the answer means. So let's say you're going down to Taco El Rey, which is delicious. And you're going to help them make some burritos. So you're making carnitas burritos, and you have, let's see, you have 8.75 pounds of carnitas. Carnitas is pork, and it's delicious. I want pork taco right now. But if they have 8.75 pounds of carnitas, and they're going to make it into burritos, and say each burrito has 0.75 pounds of carnitas in it, how many burritos can they make? So our math problem is 8.75 divided by 0.75. So I want you, since you already know how to solve that problem, I want you to pause and solve that problem. And then, after that, unpause and we'll talk about the answer, and then we'll interpret what the answer really means. So, pause and solve. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move this decimal 2 places over so we have a whole number here. 1, 2 places. If we move it there, we have to move it here. 1, 2. So what I like to do is put that first thing, again, put that decimal there, drag it right up. And then I'm going to erase my little marks here. And so I have 875 divided by 75. So 75 goes into 875 times, or I'm sorry, 75 goes into 78 one time, which is 75, which is going to leave me with 12. Then I'm going to drop that 5. 75 goes into 125 one time also, which is again 75. So then I'm left with 50. Drop my 0. 75 goes into 500 6 times, which is going to be 450. Then we're going to be left with 50, and guess what? That's going to drop 50 again, drop another 0 is 500, and once I see that I have that 2 times in a row, I know that it's got to be 11.6 repeating. But you know what? The truth is, in this kind of problem, anything after the decimal is not going to matter. The reason is, once you get to 11, and your answer is 11.6 repeating, once you get to 11, you've made 11 burritos. And you're left with 2/3 or 0.6 repeating pounds of carnitas left. So, are you able to make another one? And the answer is no. You cannot make another one with that. So in that case, the answer is 11. We don't round it up. The answer is just 11. So what I'm going to urge you to do on problems like this, where an exact answer doesn't really fit the real world, you really don't even, once you get to the decimal, you really don't even need to know what the decimal is. You can figure out whether you need to go up or down depending on the situation. Now I want you to see if you can figure this one out on your own. So say our class wants to have a water balloon fight. And what we want to have is 150 water balloons to throw. That's our goal. But problem is, the water balloons don't come in packs of 150. The water balloons only come in packs of 60. So I want you to solve the problem and figure out how many packs do we need to buy. Pause and solve. Okay, so if you need 150 balloons and they come in packs of 60, so they're in groups of 60, so that means we're going to divide. So 60 does not go into 150, so we're going to, or I'm sorry, 60 does not go into 15, so we're going to have to do 60 into 115. It goes 2 times. We get 120 and 3, but you know what? I know my decimal is going to be right there. I could go on, and the answer is actually 2.5, because 60 goes into 305 times. But I don't really need to even go here. It doesn't matter, because I can't buy 2-point-something bags of balloons. I can't tear up the baggage and then say, I'm only paying for half of the pack. I either need to buy 2 or 3. And so how many do I need to buy? The answer is 3. And the reason is, if I buy 2, I don't have enough. So I need to buy 3 and get extras. So I'm going to have you solve one more problem for tomorrow. If Mr. Knight is teaching high school and he's teaching his class and he needs to use his computer so he can use his smartboard, and the problem is I forgot my power charger, which I'm sure everyone's done before. That's a big problem. And up on my up in the upper right corner, it says how many minutes are left on the charge. And the computer says 285 minutes left. And say each class is 45 minutes long. Each class period is 45 minutes long. How many classes will I be able to get through before I need to go borrow someone else's charger. So how many classes can I get through? And think about this. When technology stops working, it kind of stops the lesson dead in its tracks. So the last thing we want Mr. Knight to do is to start a lesson and have his computer die in the middle of it. So how many classes can he get through before he needs to go ask someone else for the charger? That is your question for tomorrow. I'll see you then.